Logan Paul is no stranger to stirring up controversy, and he tried the same tactic when he invited Mike Tyson onto his podcast, hoping to spark some drama ahead of Jake Paul's fight with the boxing legend. Logan aimed to rile Tyson up and create a viral moment, but things didn't go as planned. Despite Logan's awkward attempts to make Tyson seem too old for the fight and Jake out to be a killer, Tyson remained calm and completely unfazed, leaving Logan's efforts feeling forced and ineffective.
I love you, Mike.
Same.
And I'm very nervous for you.
Thank you for caring.
I do care. I care about you. And I care about my brother.
Instead of blowing up, Tyson responded calmly, almost like a wise elder who had seen it all before. Tyson's demeanor was a stark contrast to the hot-headed fighter he was known as in the 90s. Back then, Tyson was a beast. 22 of his professional wins came by knockout in the very first round. He was feared, he was intense, and nobody wanted to get in the ring with him. But now, at 58, Tyson has mellowed out. He's reflective, even philosophical about his past and his present. So when Logan tried to provoke him, Tyson didn't lash out. He stayed calm, and honestly, it made Logan look a bit ridiculous. Logan's claims about Jake being a real killer and wanting to be a Navy SEAL before boxing seemed laughable next to Mike Tyson's legendary career. Hyping Jake as the next big thing while downplaying Tyson's decades of experience just didn't land. Logan kept pressing, asking if Tyson could still access that killer side. But Tyson calmly responded that while it's always there, he only brings it out when absolutely necessary. One key moment came when Logan, trying to keep the trolling going, asked Tyson if he could still access that killer side for the fight. Tyson, staying cool and calm, responded that he's had to control that part of himself for years and only lets it out when necessary. Logan clearly expected Tyson to get defensive or boastful, but instead, Tyson remained reflective and in control. This exchange showed how much Logan underestimated Tyson. He thought he could provoke him for entertainment, but Tyson wasn't falling for it. He's no longer the young fighter who would explode at a moment's notice. Tyson's calm response didn't just end Logan's trolling, it reminded everyone that Tyson is a legend who doesn't need to get loud to prove his worth. So after that awkward and frankly embarrassing attempt by Logan to troll Mike Tyson, things quickly started to unravel, not just for Logan, but for Jake Paul too. If Logan thought this podcast would drum up hype and make people take Jake's upcoming fight with Tyson more seriously, he was sorely mistaken. In fact, it did the opposite. As soon as the episode aired, social media exploded, but not in the way Logan had hoped. People weren't talking about how tough Jake Paul was, or how nervous they were for Mike Tyson. Instead, they were mocking Logan for what had turned into one of the cringiest moments in his podcast history. The reaction was clear. Logan Paul completely misjudged who Mike Tyson is and what he's still capable of. Fans and boxing experts pointed out that comparing Jake Paul, a social media star with a handful of fights, to a legend like Tyson was ridiculous. No one's buying the idea that Jake is a killer who Tyson should fear, given Tyson's history of brutal knockouts. People saw the fight as just another Paul brothers spectacle. If Jake wins, it'll be because he beat a 58-year-old, and if he loses, it's even worse. How do you recover from losing to someone twice your age?
So in this video today, I'm going to be defending myself with facts, something that you have gotten in the habit of twisting as you continue to morph from an investigator to a gossip channel. CoffeeZilla, I now know your motives with this.
Logan's desperate attempt to make his brother look like a legitimate threat only backfired, making the whole thing feel like a joke. And let's not forget about Logan's own problems. While his brother Jake is gearing up for this ridiculous fight, Logan's facing multiple lawsuits that are threatening to derail his career. His drink company, Prime, is being sued left and right. There's the coconut water suppliers who claim Logan's company breached contracts. And then there's the class action lawsuit over the drink allegedly containing dangerous levels of chemicals. It's a mess, and Logan's attempt to use his podcast with Tyson to distract from it didn't work at all. On top of that, Logan's legal battles don't end with Prime. He's also dealing with the fallout from his infamous Crypto Zoo scam, which YouTuber CoffeeZilla exposed. What's crazy is that Logan initially thanked CoffeeZilla for exposing the scam, but then turned around and sued him for it. That's classic Logan Paul, trying to control the narrative but failing miserably. So while he's over here trolling Mike Tyson and hyping up Jake's fight, Logan's personal and professional life is falling apart.
Let's go.
It's actually his brother.
His little brother, Tommy.
Tommy Fury. The one that Jake fought.
What's Tommy doing?
He broke up with Molly.
Well, no, I think.
Who the fuck is Molly?
Who the fuck Molly is?
I'm thinking about getting high.
What Logan Paul did on that podcast didn't just affect him or Jake. It rippled across the entire celebrity boxing scene. Over the past few years, we've seen this strange mix of YouTubers, influencers, and even retired athletes stepping into the ring. It's become more about entertainment and less about actual skill. And honestly, Logan and Jake Paul have been at the center of it. They've managed to turn what used to be a niche, gimmicky spectacle into a legitimate money-making machine. But this latest fiasco with Mike Tyson, it kind of changes everything. Celebrity boxing at its core is about putting on a show. It's not really about who's the best boxer or who's got the most experience. It's about the drama, the hype, and the personalities involved. That's why the Paul brothers have been able to thrive. They know how to generate attention and keep people talking. But when you bring someone like Mike Tyson into the mix, the game changes. Tyson isn't just another retired athlete looking for a paycheck. He's a legend. And trying to make a fight between him and Jake Paul into just another spectacle doesn't sit well with a lot of people, especially after what we saw on Logan's podcast. Here's the thing. Logan's trolling made it clear that he, and probably Jake, don't fully understand what Tyson represents. Sure, Tyson is older now, and he's not the same wrecking machine he was in his prime, but he's still Mike Tyson. He's still the guy who knocked out 22 people in the first round. He's still the guy who became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. And that's not something you can just brush off by calling Jake a killer. Tyson's legacy goes beyond the ring. It's about his story, his struggles, and his redemption. Trying to reduce him to just another opponent for Jake to beat for clout? That's where Logan messed up. This whole situation might change how people view celebrity boxing. There's already backlash over how seriously Jake is taking the fight. Let's be honest, Jake has never faced anyone like Tyson. He's fought influencers and retired athletes, but Tyson is in a different league. Even at 58, hyping this fight as a real contest feels like a cash grab, and people are seeing through the gimmicks. If Jake wins, it'll be because Tyson is past his prime. If he loses, it could damage Jake's reputation or even end his boxing career. But beyond Jake and Logan, this moment marks a shift in how we view these influencer-driven fights. Bringing in legends like Tyson raises the bar, and suddenly, it's not just about having millions of followers or being able to throw a decent punch. It's about respecting the sport and understanding the legacy of the people you're stepping into the ring with. Logan's podcast was a reminder that Tyson isn't just some washed-up fighter looking for a payday. He's a living legend, and treating him like anything less than that is a huge mistake. So, what's next? Jake's fight with Tyson is still on the horizon, and after all the hype and Logan's embarrassing podcast, curiosity is higher than ever. Logan's trolling raised the stakes. This is no longer just an influencer match. It could either solidify Jake as a serious contender, or reveal the Paul brothers as more interested in clout than boxing. Logan's antics have spotlighted the tension between influencers and real legends, putting all the pressure on Jake. Can he live up to the hype, or is this the beginning of the end for the Paul brothers in boxing? So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.